far, Season 2 has been a brilliant experience, getting back into the Simpsons we all know and love.
A very good run.
Exactly, 4 brilliant episodes. None of them were, well, Simpson and I was okay.
It was okay.
But
yeah.
we had 3 ones where the lowest was a 9, all great. What did you think of Dancing Homer?
I didn't care for it. It was okay.
Yeah, it brings you back down to earth, doesn't it?
Yeah, after the heights, I guess there's got to be some kind of low. This one I remember always stuck out to me.
Yeah.
As being like, this feels like a holdover from the first season.
It does, it's very, well, very barely anything really happens. Well, yeah, it's just a standard rise and fall.
And but the kind of that story doesn't kick in until like more than halfway through.
Well, it spends about like the first 7 minutes are just on that one like set piece where they're at the game.
Yeah, Mr. Burns is next to
Homer,
and you think it's going to set up like a Burns Homer episode again.
And then it just doesn't.
It doesn't. He goes nowhere with it. It's almost like they had like 2 different ideas. They're like, okay, we want to have Homer become a mascot, but we also want to have like some stuff with Mr. Burns with them hanging out together.
Yeah.
And we kind of smush the 2 together.
Yeah. It doesn't feel organic like it came out of it or anything.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's an okay episode.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's better than almost everything apart from Krusty Gets Busted is probably in the first series is less than this.
I like the world expanding.
Yeah.
I like how they go to Capital City,
yeah,
which is like a Simpsons stand-in for New York.
If nothing else, it's much more ambitious.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. There's some nice animation in that section, and I like the song that's played. And
they're trying to go for visual gags as well.
Visual gags, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I like how kind of Springfield is like it's established now as being like a little suburb within like a huge within this big capital city.
Within America.
Yeah, within America. Yeah. You kind of understand. Well, not the state, but like where the Simpsons are placed in terms of like the city, and kind of the reception of Homer is completely different in both places.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's a commentary on.
Yeah. Well, this does feel like one they could have done a lot more with later on.
Yeah.
This has a lot of promise to it, which again makes it better than a lot of the season 1 ones.
It makes a lot of like I think class commentary.
Yeah.
But like Springfield loves Dancing Homer and his kind of lo-fi charms, and you know, like it's just entertaining the audience, and then they love it and eat it up.
And then the big city, they need more than that.
They need more than that, yeah. He wasn't, but none of them were impressed. They're all really like passive. Oh, like New Yorkers, they're like passive, and you know they want someone to really impress.
Right. With this, if this actually would have been a good episode to do about 10-15 years later. You could have shown everyone on the phone or something.
Oh yeah.
And they could have done a commentary where who the mascot was there that was really popular. Could have been like some kid who went whoa or something.
Yeah,
it would have been like he'd have done that hand movement that the rappers do near the bins.
Rappers do these days.
Yeah, but it could have been a piss take on like the erosion of culture and stuff. Yeah, it could have been Kim Kardashian. They could have got Kim Kardashian in.
They could have done something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity. It's like he goes there and then the satire is very tame. Yeah,
it spends too long in the opening, far too long in the opening. And doesn't really pay off with the overall story.
Exactly. Classic thing they could have done were 2 minutes setting up the fact that he's going to be dancing Homer.
Yeah.
A little bit on him in Springfield. That would have been the first act, the 7 minutes before the first ad break. Boom, then he's in New York. The rest of it, New York humour.
In fact, this plot, come to think of it, just sprung to mind now. The structure of it, because obviously the context of it is totally different, the structure is perfected in the episode where Homer becomes a cannonball and he solves with Lollapalooza. You know, like
that's an amazing episode.
Yeah, they do a lot to establish like there's a lot happens in that opening, but it takes a bit to Homer actually becoming a cannonball, like take it like human cannonball.
Yeah.
But you know, they establish that Homer's going to do it, and then he goes on tour and he shows off shenanigans he gets up to in much greater detail than this episode does. But you know, I presume that's when the writers got better at telling stories.
Yeah, that's season 7 is that. That's it's classic era.
Yeah, it's much later on. But you know, it's an okay episode. I think it passes time.
It does. Like I was surprised it actually had gone so quick.
Yeah.
Not particularly because it wasn't unenjoyable. It's just you turn your brain off and you watch it for a bit. It's not challenging in any way. It's, the framing device.
I was just going to bring up the framing device. Yeah. I don't think it works at all.
I think it's pretty rubbish.
Well, like, because I was just thinking about it. It's like obviously, at the end of every Simpsons episode, the status quo has always got to return.
Yeah.
And going into this episode, you know in the end that they're going to return to Springfield, we're not going to stay in Capital City.
No.
So why even bother having a framing narrative when you already know Homer's going to fail?
Yeah.
You know, it sets up in the opening by like Homer's like, you know, this is my story of failure, and oh, that's actually season 1 voice. I can't do his normal voice. Doeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, you know, but this is my tale of woe, this is my fall from grace. But it's like, well, we already know it's going to happen, so why be around the bush?
It's pretty much just there for that ending epiphany where he's like, well, you guys listen to me.
Yeah,
just
you guys liked me.
Which is sort of just a really cheap...
Well, Homer already knows people like him.
Yeah.
People, you know, like, oh, actually, no, maybe he's more like, oh, you know, I was a failure, I didn't make him a big city, but he should have been like, well, we love you dancing, Homer.
Yeah.
I don't know, so something should have happened.
Yeah, there should have been, there should have just been more to it. The only problem with this is just there isn't much to it. It's like, you get your hands around, there's nothing there.
Yeah,
it's like... It's just an episode where there's no centre or anything. It's just a bunch of gags.
It's no bar gets an F.
No, it's not. It's focused as that.
Yeah.
Very weak. What would you give it then out of a 10 scale? I think it's a 6.
Yeah, 6. I completely
The
agree.
most average of 6s.
Yeah.
It's not average enough to be a 5.
Yeah.
You feel something at least, which is sort of a mild meh.
Yeah, it's about meh. I had a couple chuckles. But
Yeah.
see, I was saying that, like, looking at The Simpsons, like, globally, trans-culturally, I think a lot of the baseball stuff, particularly in the opening, doesn't really translate over here.
I don't think there's no real jokes that are specific to the baseball.
Yeah, I don't know, I always just find them difficult stories to attach to.
Yeah.
Just because it is such a, I know it's a worldwide sport, but I think it's such a specifically American thing.
I just imagine it's soccer.
Okay, yeah. Soccer.
Soccer, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But no. It's not like, see, well, I enjoy, I think it's the episode, you don't remember this one, but it's the nuclear power plant baseball team episode.
Can't remember that at all.
It's a really funny episode, but a lot of it is based around you, like, because they get loads of guest star baseball players.
Oh yeah.
Most of it, I've got no idea who any of them are, but it's still really funny. But that's like season 8 Simpsons, so...
Oh, so that would be good.
It's going to be good, yeah.
But
I think it's season 8. But yeah, no, a 6.
The return as well of everyone's favourite jazz man.
Oh my god, we've not talked about the racist and sexist elements.
Bleeding Gums Murphy makes a return.
Yeah, and he's given up jazz for soul.
For some reason. Because he's black is what the Simpsons writers did.
Yeah, but they also do a joke that where Dancing Homer does like a reggae beat. And there's some comically racist.
You go, Mr. Homer.
Yeah.
Which I don't. Why is it so racist?
It's like comically racist Jamaican caricatures.
Exactly. They've got it's like the only black character who's a musician they've got. They had to give him a soul song. They couldn't have written a new one.
And it's like he sings the national anthem,
and he does it incredibly long.
Like,
he turns it into a soul jam.
Yeah. But you know, it was a bit. I remember there's a really weird bit where Bart tries to get like an autograph on his baseball from this like dickhead, basically.
And then Marge does it and gets his room number.
Yeah, it's a bit like, ooh, God, that's a bit...
Well, how naive is Marge meant to be, not to give that to her son?
Yeah, why would she give that? Yeah. How naive is Marge?
Remember Bart, this will screw you up in a few years. Yay!
Your hero wants to fuck your bum.